Hi again, everybody. This video is sponsored by contribution from Tamara, and here's her story. Dear Ollie, my letter was read by you in the "You Are the Face of the Narcissist Tactics." In the letter, I wrote about my childhood experiences of narc abuse and asked about your weight loss. Thank you and all your viewers for your support around that time. This time, I'm writing about a date from hell with a narc I had when I was 16. I hope to have a healthy, fun relationship with a romantic partner one day. And part of that is releasing the stories about narc men I have dated and encountered. I met Anthony V while I was waiting for the bus to go to work when I was 16. He was driving his car and said hello out the window to me as he passed by. I did not respond. A few minutes later, he approached me from from the way he originally drove by. He asked if I needed a ride somewhere. When I said no, he asked me if he could call me. I asked him how old he was. He said 26. What? I told him I was 16. He told me that he could get into trouble for talking to me, but he did not care because he felt attracted to me. Oh, you fucking creep. Tired of feeling unwanted and alone, I gave him my number. Oh, God, that's what they do. They prey on these young girls. I thought to myself, well, at least he feels I'm worthy of his attention. He very aggressively pulled me into a hug and gave me a lingering kiss on the cheek. I felt extremely uncomfortable, but I ignored my gut reaction. That's because you're 26 kissing a fucking 16 kissing a 26-year-old. Your body knows it's wrong. After having two phone conversations, we went out the following week. During the phone conversation, he was nice. He was nice over the phone, as well as nice as a 24, 26-year-old man who was preying on a 16-year-old girl could be. He picked me up at the bus stop we met at. Once I got into the car, that is when humiliation started. You should change the way you dress. You need to keep my interest, he told me. I was wearing something conservative. I was shocked and confused. He met me this way, and now he has an issue with it already. I thought this was yet another evidence that I was not good enough for anyone. No, he's just a predator grooming you. There's a reason why a 26-year-old goes after a 16 dressed conservatively standing at a bus stop. Okay, why are you standing at a bus stop not getting a ride? Okay, probably reeks of self-esteem. And his only function was to turn you into some kind of sexual slave. That's what he was looking for because that's his perversion. And he preys on young girls because women his own age will fucking eat him alive. That's why guys like that do this. He drove us up to a city 50 miles away. The whole way up there, he was telling me what a great catch he was. He told me stories of how he served in the army and have jumped out of planes. He also told me how he won many fights when he used to be in gangs. He described how well he was currently doing at the local community college and how he was getting straight A's on a full-time load while working a full-time job at a bank that paid him $100K a year. He's at community college? He was also touching me on my thighs while telling me how I had potential. I pulled his hands off me at one point and told him to keep his eyes on the road. He became angry and told me how I needed to learn how to be less bland and recognize that I was lucky to be out with someone like him. He then became nice again and told me that he would like for me to lose my virginity to him when I was 18. Again, he told me I had work to do if I was to keep his interest until then. This guy actually sounds like a porn producer. Some kind of child smut guy. At this point, I was seriously terrified and confused. I had no way, I had no way, I had no way said anything during our phone conversations or during the car ride to even suggest I wanted any of what he was saying. I felt a knot form in my throat as he put down as his put-downs rang in my ears, along with the years of put-downs I've received from my narc parents. When we got to the destination, we parked in a public garage. Once he took the keys out of the ignition, he aggressively kissed me and touched me everywhere. I was too afraid to directly stop it because I sensed that if I did, he may fly into a rage. However, I stopped it by pretending to recognize a teacher from my high school and getting out of a car next to his. Good job. We went into a Starbucks to get a coffee before the movie. Because he drove us and paid for the movie, I offered to pay for the coffees. He mocked me in front of a long line of people, sarcastically saying, "Oh, wow, you're such a big spender." He was not bantering or joking. He just had contempt on his face. I was now seriously ashamed and confused. Why was he spewing such venom? Again, I decided that in that moment, if I was good enough, he wouldn't be acting this way. Right, and the only way to make you good enough is to have sex with him, which is why he was doing it, to make him happy. When we walked to a movie theater nearby, I tripped and fell. He walked ahead without trying to help me up. He then slowed down for me to catch up. He laughed at me for falling and said, "I don't know you." By this time, I noticed people giving me glances, and I thought they were all thinking what a loser I was. I will spare the details of seeing the movie with him. Basically, all I remember was not being able to concentrate on the movie because my body felt frozen with fear and shame. He was breathing heavily and aggressively, grabbing me right in the middle of the theater crowd. I wanted to yell to stop, but this guy already showed me he had no qualms about humiliating me and turning things around on me. I figured tolerating his actions quietly was better than calling out his behavior and having a room full of theater people gang up on me and side with him. No, all you would have had to say is, "I'm 16, he's 26, and he won't keep his fucking hands off me." They would have yanked him out of there and he would have gotten locked up on the spot. Now that I've gone through some recovery, I realize that my first impulse is to believe that the abuser would have the whole world on their side while I either had to escape or fight alone. When we were heading back to our home city, he pulled into an empty, dark parking lot, unzipped his pants, and told me to give him oral sex. I told him no, mentally praying that the no would not cost me dearly. He told me to watch him jerk off instead. I searched the parking lot for somewhere where I could go to run or to hide. The parking lot was abandoned, forlorn, and unkempt with loose gravel. If I ran, I would have nowhere to go, and he is the one behind the driver's wheel. Luckily, after he got off, he continued to drive us back to our home city. I felt sick and mad at myself for not being able to stand up for myself. I felt mad at myself for being so inadequate that people like him would treat me the way he had all the way through the date. I went home crying in my room, but also at the same time wishing I knew what I could have done to be worthy of his respect. Nothing. This wasn't a date. This was a date rape. You calling this a date? This is a date rape. I wanted to write about my experience with this man because it stayed with me for a long time. I kept quiet about it until my early 20s because I did not want others judging me for even agreeing to date a 26-year-old man. I also did not want to risk others siding with him and confirming again how unworthy of love and respect I was of love and respect. I also want to expose guys like this. Not saying every guy is like that, but it makes me angry that guys like this prey on young teenagers, especially the ones who already have a deep shame about themselves. Who knows, maybe he's still doing it today, as narcs are painfully predictable in their tactics of power and control. Of course he's doing it today. That's what they do. He's a sexual predator. He doesn't stop. He's grooming you. He's done this to other girls many times. You're calling this a date. This is a date rape. And you were so abused by your parents. And this is what these type of guys look for. They look for low self-esteem girls teenage girls that they can easily manipulate, the ones who are looking to please. And when a 26-year-old guy starts putting you down, okay, and your first impulse is to blame yourself and everybody's going to turn on me, that's why he took his dick out. Because he thought he had you. Thought he had you. He basically did if he made you watch him jerk off. Sorry. I mean, I'm sorry you're at the point where where you're not even recognizing that this is just a full-on sexual assault. And you're still, at your age, thinking that people would turn, all you would have to do is stand up in that movie theater and like, this 26-year-old is putting his hands all over me. I made a fucking horrible mistake by going out. Nobody's going to blame a 16-year-old. That's what 16-year-old girls do. They do stupid shit. That's why they're teenagers. All teenagers do stupid shit. That's life. You don't hold yourself, you don't blame yourself for that. He's a sexual deviant, a sexual predator, and he's probably hurting other girls. If you know his name, I would look him up and find out if he has any sexual abuse charges on him, or if he's been locked up, or if he's dating anybody. Who knows how many other young girls he's done this with? Because I'm sure you're not the first, and you sure as hell probably weren't the last. Guys like this have been exposed on shows like To Catch a Predator and stuff. He's a predator. He's a predator. What you need to concern yourself about is not so much him. Yeah, you want to expose him because he could be hurting other young girls. Is why you were thinking like this to begin with. And that goes back to your parents once again. You are blaming yourself for your thinking and your decision making that was set forth by the abuse from your narcissistic parents. It's not your shame, it's theirs. It's not your fault, it's theirs. There's a reason why you're in that state of mind to begin with. There's a reason why a 26-year-old man can whip his dick out and you think everybody's going to hate you. That's your parents. That's what you need to continue to worry about. Yeah, you need to look into stories like this, but not so much about him, because it all starts with your parents. They're the ones who made you susceptible for this type of narcissist. That's the truth, and that's what you should really be focusing on. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, or a narcissist you'd like to expose, you know what to do with the PayPal and my email link in the description box. And remember, when you do email me, to please put at the top of the email whether it's with or without contribution and what name you'd like to go by. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. See you all again soon.